guys get hurt when you go to the ground. We had 2 guys go to the ground yesterday, and we had 2 good players have some pretty serious injuries from it. Brett went to the ground and got his ankle, and then we stumbled up and we had a body land on Nick's knee. So it was good of him getting his knee out of there, and it was a pretty freak thing, and he was fortunate to come out the way he did.
But you have guys who are working hard, they're practicing hard, they want to make an impression. Isn't some of that just unavoidable when you have guys going hard?
Yes. That's why it's football. That's why it's tough to practice football. How many days to do it. Now you look at our schedule now. I mean, this was our last chance to get 3 practices in a row. We're going to play Dallas, and then you got a couple off days. We're going to travel to Denver, get some scrimmage time in, and you got 10 days between those 2 games, but then we're going to have 3 games in a 10-day span. So it gets pretty weird with these games and how to rest guys and play. But it's part of football. You keep showing guys, you want guys to compete, you want guys to do things, but you got to really not let it get carried away. Because when guys are trying to make the team, they're trying to compete. If they're not in a position to thud someone up and be square on someone or not bring their legs with them, it's not worth it. You can prove that some other time, but it's not worth proving it in practice.
You mentioned the schedule with those three games in a 10-day span. Would you, in an ideal world, do you need 4 preseason games, or would you rather just have more of a normalized schedule?
Yeah, you absolutely don't need 4 preseason games. I'd rather have 0 than 4. Preferably, I'd like 2. 1 to evaluate the people trying to make the team, and just 1 to knock a little rust off.
So for you, obviously, these joint practices against Denver and what you're doing on the practice field now, you put a lot more value on that than
A ton more value. Yeah, I put more value into what we did today. So.
John Lynch said on the radio this morning that Nick Mullins worked out with Tom House this offseason and added a little juice to his throws. Is that where you've seen him make the biggest stride since last year?
I'm not sure. I mean, all 3 of the guys did. Matt Ryan did that my last year with him there. I mean, I think a lot of guys do that. Really understands the mechanics of throwing and how to get the most out of your arm and how to take care of it so it doesn't wear down. So hopefully, they add a little velocity. They add about 4 yards. I think they can feel it. I think it gives them a little more confidence, but we'll see in the games.
What's the biggest difference between Nick now and Nick at the end of last season?
That he's gotten so much more reps. Nick got reps last year in training camp and stuff, but then his reps were usually at free safety once practice started and everything. So the fact that he got to play and do that, and once he started playing and playing well, he got more confidence, got the reps each week, and he's very confident. Where he's going to go with the ball, and it's pretty easy to think the same with him.
For all 4 guys down there? With House, for all 4 of your QBs?
No, I just 3 of our guys were.
CJ?
Yeah, CJ did some too.
Same
Yeah.
question for CJ. What's the biggest difference between him now and at the end of last season?
I think, CJ's got to play a lot, and he's had some games where he's played very well, and he's had some games he's struggled. And so I think there's a lot of tape that he knows the stuff he can do very well, and he knows the things he struggled at. He's got to really learn on how to stay healthy, which sometimes it's tough because he's been in some games where, regardless of what he did, he was going to get hit. But he's also trying to do a better job at avoiding some of those, just having a little bit better feel in that pocket. It's sometimes your biggest strength is your biggest weakness, and CJ's as tough and fearless as anyone I know. That's why he keeps his eyes down the field, and that's why he can read coverages and get the ball to the right spot. But sometimes you got to be a little scared, or at least see that big guy coming at you to hit you so you can avoid it and protect yourself.
With Barrett, how do you evaluate where he's at and just his future with this team this season, given that you're not going to have him for the rest of this month?
Well, I mean, fortunately for Jason, he's played football. We've seen him on tape. Everyone's studied him coming out of college. Everyone knows the ability he has. So it's one that we can be more patient with. We know the football player he is. We've seen the guy since he's been here, and he's as good of a guy and as good of a competitor as I've been around. We got ultimate trust in him. It's just about him getting his body right. And when he left the field yesterday, we thought it was a lot worse than it ended up being. So, I mean, it was a rough day, but by the end of the day, it ended up being better news than we anticipated. The fact that it was just an ankle and he will be able to come back, it's unfortunate for him, but he'll be good to go by week 1, at least healthy, and then hopefully he'll be ready with his mentality. I know he hasn't played in a while, so we'll have to get him back in there, but when Jason's good to go, and I think he'll let us know that when he's good to go, we're excited about who we have, and there'll be some good competition.
Nick and Verrett the only guys in danger of missing week 1 right now?
No, I mean, you got Richburg on PUP, so that's the goal, to get him back for week 1. I don't know if you guys know yet, but K1 got his knee scoped a little bit ago, so he's iffy for week 1 also. That's the goal for all did I say 3 guys? Let's go for all 4 of those guys. Am I missing anyone else? Oh, and Jet. And Jet's the guy we got to be careful with. You know, Jet, we took off PUP. He got 2 days into practice, and after 2 days, he had a lot of soreness. So we got to be smart with that. So him having soreness after a couple days, we're going to take it off of him. I think we're going to end up getting some PRP for him, which should give him about 2 weeks off to let that recover. And then he'll have 18 days before week 1 after that. And if he's ready, that'll be great. And if not, we'll be patient with him, let him come back, and expect one of our other guys to step up.
As head coach, have you had to do any kind of emotional management with Nick and Jason just because of their history?
A little bit, yeah. I think, I think you're dealing with 2 guys that it means more than them to play football and to be successful than you could ever imagine. That's their livelihood. It's everything they do. And what Jason's been through these last few years, everyone knows how good of a corner he is. I mean, not just us, everyone does. And for him to not be able to go out there and show that, I know it's got to be frustrating for him. And I think he was in a little dark place yesterday morning because we thought it was going to be worse than it was. And I think the day ended up positive. He knows he can get back. He knows he can still do this. Just it's going to be a couple weeks setback. And then Nick, everyone knows Nick missed his last year of college for a pretty serious injury. And I think it's hard. It's hard for me to watch because everyone acts like he's the guy who's going to get hurt and do stuff like this. And I've been around probably one of the most physical rookies in practice that I've been around as far as playing the run, playing the pass. He gets after it. He's tough as could be. And I just tried to tell him yesterday, last thing he wants to do is get hurt. He's trying to go out there and play with it. He wants to come back tomorrow. But he had over a 300-pound man land on his leg, and it was very fortunate that we didn't lose him for the year. So even though I've only been around those 2 for a little bit, I got the utmost respect for them and how they carry themselves, and there's not any doubt in my mind that it's more important for them to get back to the field than it is for anyone else.
Is K1 also done for the preseason?
Yes.
Is Armstead's calf injury serious, or is he coming back soon?
That's day to day. We're trying to see how it plays out. We don't think it is, but it's kept him out the last few days.
And for McKinnon, I forget how it works, but is he eligible to go back on PUP?
No, you can't go back on PUP.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is he being considered for an injury list to begin the season? So
No, I believe the only choice is, and I'll definitely confirm this with the smarter guys upstairs with Prague and Hamp. But no, once you come off PUP, the only chance is you could be on your active 53 and you just wait till they're healthy, or you can put them on IR and then you get 2 guys designated to return that year.
is that an option for him that he starts the season on IR and then gets brought back?
Yeah, it's all an option. I hope that doesn't happen. I know he doesn't, but that's an option with anybody. Those are tough decisions you got to make. But when I feel our goal is week 1, and with everything that's going on, and that's not just because we're hoping week 1, that's because the doctors feel that's a realistic goal, then that's pretty far from my mind right now. But anytime guys are in this situation, that's always the tough thing about the 53. We got more guys here than 53 people, and sometimes it's tough. You get rid of people to keep someone. Well, when are they going to be available? And that's just the issue that you have at rosters.
What about Ronald Blair?
Ronald Blair, I think he had a slight groin. I don't think he was not out there today, but he's day to day.
Like you said, if anyone's questioning Bosa's toughness or ability to play football or anything like that, but you see, I guess there's a level of concern that when a guy just can't stay on the field.
Not with me, because I go back to his history, and I think the guy stayed on the field throughout college. He played 12 games his freshman year, I think 13 his sophomore year. I think he played in 3 his next year, and he had a surgery to repair his oblique. And probably was a pretty good decision for him, too. But so when you go back to that decision, he played game in and game out until that year. And now we have a guy come in, and someone landed on his leg, and that doesn't make me say someone's injury prone, because he had one serious injury in college, and he tore his ACL sometime in high school, like 60% of the players out there.
We saw Jimmy connect with Trent, I believe, 3 times in the red zone today. For one, how good is that to see, considering where they were at the end of 2017? And what about each of their games kind of makes them be able to gel so well in close quarters like that?
Trent's got a very good feel for zone. Trent, he's one of our better man-to-man players, but he also has a feel out there where he can just feel open areas. And there's a lot of guys that are supposed to run the route that's called, and then they see a space and they can adjust it. And there's a lot of guys who think they can do that, but they can't. Trent's one of the guys who can. I mean, if he sees something and changes a route, it's usually because he should. And I think Jimmy has a good feel for him in that way. That sometimes when guys are like that, you'll stay on him a little bit longer than usual instead of progressing to the next option.
Jalen Hurts, he started off by kind of showing you stuff as a run blocker and kind of the aggression, but is he showing that also now catching the ball?
Definitely. I mean, that's when he's got aggressiveness to him that he's big and stuff. So I think you guys can see that blocking. But that's what I like about him and Debo. I mean, both of them. They're big guys, and I know Debo doesn't have the same height, but they're both big guys. They're big targets who have strong hands, who can defeat holding. When guys are on them, they're not thrown off their routes as much. And not only do they have the bodies like that, but they have the mentalities to go with it.
You got hurt on the front side today, and I think he cracked down on defensive ends. I guess that kind of speaks to how confident you are as him as a blocker, but is that something you use in the season as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we do that with Trent a lot too. Actually, Jalen blocked him too good today because he knocked him into a tackle and picked our tackle so the will backer could go make the tackle. I should have gotten someone littler on it. But that shows he is a bigger guy. It's not like he mean to. He's just bigger. But, there's not a receiver on our team that we won't ask to do that. They all have to be able to do that. You don't just put the obvious guy there, but he should be the best at it. He's the biggest.
How can you tell guys have strong hands?
How they attack the ball. It's like, the guys who get a rebound, and you can feel them, the ball up in the air, and they grab it like it's going to pop. I mean, people tell you growing up have soft hands, and you absorb it and stuff, but that's how people teaching you how to catch. I want people with aggressive hands where you're running through the ball, you're attacking it. People can be on your wrists and stuff, but you are popping that basketball every time. There's some, and those are like the Jarvis Landrys, going back to Brandon Marshall. When you have hands, Anquan Bolden, when you have hands like that, you don't always have to separate. If you have those type of hands and you can separate, then you have a chance to be special.
When you're speaking philosophically about football, do you like to go to basketball analogy?
I stopped baseball in 8th grade. I always played, basketball was my favorite, so I always loved basketball. So I think those are the best athletes, they're the most fun to watch, and that's the one I wish I could have played. But
What's the strongest hands on the team?
it's different when you come to like aggressive hands. I mean, there's guys with good hand-eye, and which Dante's up there with his hand-eye and stuff. But when you go to the strongest, most aggressive hands, I'm going to go to Bourne, Debo, and Jalen.
All right. You mentioned 2 rookies there.
Yep, that's why they're here.
A lot of times coaches want, the veterans to kind of set the standard. Are you kind of amping things up now for the veterans to take a look at the rookies, that they can add something that can help your game?
You'd like to, but you can't make stuff up as coaches. I'm just saying what I see out on the field, and they see it too. So we got guys pushing those guys, and so it's a really fun competition to watch.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.